Hey you guys, it's Peter, and I'm back. Of course I'm back. I'm not going anywhere. Boost. Peekaboo. I see you because I'm YouTube famous now. Available in 2021, the album Dad AF. Rock on. Boost. Gold Dust Woman. Hi, how are you guys doing today? Happy Tuesday. How are you doing? I already asked you that, but you didn't answer. Did you answer? How are you doing? Okay. I don't even know what to say about this video before I get into this today. This whole situation with Gabby Hannah has become very intriguing to me, very interesting about what is going on now. So if you have been keeping up with my videos, or if you've been watching Gabby on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, this all started, this started years ago, 3 years ago or something like that, where she started calling people out. And then there was this, series of drama, and then there's always a makeup that happens, or she comes out and she tries to redeem herself with some kind of video, explaining it all away, and then she kind of takes a hiatus again. And that's kind of the theme of Gabby Hannah. So this started, I would say, about a week and a half ago, when Gabby called out Rachel Oates, who is a fellow YouTuber, for critiquing her poetry, as well as publishing a book, which Rachel had written from the point of view of a dog. And Gabby she was upset about that, because she said that her poetry was based in memories and things that had happened to her about her childhood trauma. And so it was really hurtful that Rachel would do this to her, okay? And of that part, I agree. So then it went from there to her coming out against a lot of different people, okay? Of which she said that she was just defending herself. She was standing her ground. She's going to defend herself. She's not going to do this anymore. So over the last week and a half, we have seen Gabby go all over the place, okay? And most of her fans and stans, I would say, are the people at this point that are the most concerned. Now, when I was doing my video, was it yesterday, I think, I talked about how Gabby referenced the neurodivergent community, and that a lot of people were like, whoa, wait a second, okay? You are not the spokesperson for the neurodivergent community. She's stating she has ADHD, and that she's been diagnosed with ADHD, and they're like, you do not speak for this, and it goes into this huge thing where people are like, this is not an excuse for what's been going on online, and a lot of people that identify as being part of the neurodivergent community are having huge issues with this, okay? So now it's become this very serious issue, which I think all along it was a serious issue to Gabby. I think that what she didn't realize was, to everybody else, it just seemed like drama and hysterics. And at this point, I think people don't know when to take Gabby seriously. And that's part of the problem, is that she's done this, and she's done that, and she's done this. And so people are like, is this just more of the same? Like, I don't know what this is, right? Like, are you really proud of your music and you're a rock star because you say that one day? Or is this because, you're going to start standing up for yourself and you're not going to be bullied anymore, and, you're defending yourself, which is what you'll say another day? Or is this because of the ADHD, which she's claiming? What is this all about? And I think people are very, very confused, okay? And then she came out and she said that she was doing this 12-part series, which it now seems to me is going to be mostly, I think, part and parcel, as a friend of mine says, about her being part of the neurodivergent community. Okay, so before I even get into this video, I just want to say that this is a difficult topic to talk about, because you don't want to offend anybody, right? And you don't want to say something that's wrong. So I'm just going to be completely transparent about everything going into this, okay? Up until about 3 days ago or 2 days ago, I had never heard the term neurodivergent community, okay? So I'm just putting that out there. I want to be completely straightforward. I had never heard that term used, okay? And I started getting a lot of messages from people on DMs that were saying, I'm part of the neurodivergent community. I'm part of the neurodivergent community. I'm I'm completely baffled by what Gabby is saying and doing, and I'm just really, really upset about this. And in fact, I wish I could go in here and find this one message that I was sent. Hold on a second. But before I do, I can't spell to save my life. I want to neurodivergent, and what is the meaning to that? Hold on a second. Neurodivergent meaning, because I want us all to be on the same page, and this is just layman's terms off of Wikipedia. Neurodivergency is a neologism used to refer to variation in the human brain regarding sociability, learning, attention, mood, and other mental functions in a non-pathological sense. It was coined in 1998 by sociologist Judy Singer, who helped popularize the concept along with journalist Harvey Bloom. It emerges a challenge to prevailing views that certain neurodevelopmental disorders are inherently pathological, and instead adopts a social model of disability in which societal barriers are the main contributing factors that disables people. The view is especially popular within the autism rights movement. The subsequent neurodiversity paradigm has been controversial among disability advocates, which opponents saying that its conceptualization doesn't reflect the realities of individuals who have high support needs. So if you go in here and then you see a neurodivergent community, I have read so much on this in the last couple days, and like who is part of it, who is considered neurodivergent. And it says on here, some of the people that are considered neurodivergent are people that are on the autism spectrum, people that have ADHD, people that have OCD. So before I get into this, I want to say, okay, from 2 different counselors in my life, I have been diagnosed with ADHD, you know? And I have to say, like at times, because I think, you know, I was thinking about this before I sat down and made this video. I don't know if you guys can tell, like, this is like an uncomfortable video for me to make, okay? Before I sat down and I was making this video, I was thinking to myself about all the comments that I receive on my videos when I'm like, or I go off on this tangent or I go off on that tangent, right? And I'll get a lot of comments from people that will say things like, God, you're so ADHD, or how ADHD of you, or have you checked your ADHD meds, and things like that. I get that a lot, right? When I was first diagnosed with ADHD, it was straight out of treatment. Now, I had gone, like, who I am now is who I was when I was growing up, too. And interestingly enough, in retrospect, my mom had this book, and I've talked about this before. Go fact check it. I've talked about it before. And the book was called Driven to Distraction. And I actually just looked it up, and it came out in 1992. And Driven to Distraction was a book on living and coping with ADHD. And I remember reading this book, and I was like, this is me, right? And at that time, as a person in recovery, there was a lot of it's a completely different world today, okay? There's a lot of people that are in recovery that are on ADHD meds and ADD meds, right? And need to be, right? But at that time, the world that I lived in, it was suggested that if you were diagnosed as ADHD in early sobriety, that you wouldn't take medication, because a lot of the medication at that time was like Ritalin, Adderall, Concerta, okay? Which were stimulants. They are stimulants. So those were things that were recommended that you wouldn't take if you were a person in sobriety, okay? Because you could possibly abuse those substances. But you wouldn't, because if you were truly ADHD, those substances, you couldn't abuse them. Like, well, you could, I guess. But, I mean, they would work for you. Does that make sense? So a person that doesn't have ADHD, this is a whole other conversation, but a person that doesn't have ADHD that is taking that medication is going to be abusing it, right? But for the person that does have ADHD, if they were taking it adequately, it would work for them, okay? I chose at that time not to take medication. Recently, in going to marriage counseling, our counselor again said to me, I believe that you have I took the test and everything, okay? So, and you know, I've had a lot of people that have speculated through the years, are you ADHD, blah, 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 whatever, okay? The other thing that I have been diagnosed with is OCD. And this, for me, is something that I don't talk a lot about on camera. It's real difficult for me to talk about. And this is me just being completely vulnerable, because I'm trying to be open-minded to Gabby, Hannah, and what is going on. But I mentioned it in a video one time, and somebody said, well, you don't actually have OCD. Well, I do, so I'm a counter, and I have a number, and I tap things and whatever, and when you have OCD, you know, you have these thoughts in your head that if you don't go back and recheck things, or you don't tap this and you don't tap that, the alarm clock, the stove, all these kind of things, and you don't do it a certain amount of time, then something possibly bad is going to happen. And I've lived with that for as long as I can remember, ever since I was very, very young. So this whole conversation, as you can see, is very, very interesting to me on this level, okay? Bring into the fact who I actually just reached out to, and I said, do you care if I mention this in a video? And he said, no, babe, not at all. My husband is also ADHD. He's been diagnosed by a psychiatrist and a counselor, and he is on medication. My husband takes medication for ADHD. And I can tell you, I know when my husband hasn't taken his medication and he has forgotten for the day. I can tell you, I know, okay? And there are just little things that happen throughout the day, and I'm like, babe, did you forget to take your medication? And he's always like, oh my God, yeah, I did, right? So these things are personal to me. I do take these things personal. I do take Gabby now taking all of this and putting it into a 12-part series where she's going to educate everybody on what apparently is termed neurodivergency, and that in the neurodivergent community, other than people that have lived in this community for years and years and years and are educated on it and do know what they're talking about. So I hope in her 12-part series, if this is a big part of the series, I hope she's reached out to people in the community that know what the hell they're talking about. That's all I hope, so that we're not putting out misinformation. I watched this video today that Trisha Paytas had tweeted out, and it's by this person who's fantastic. Hold on a second. Oh my God, I just had it pulled up. Oh, here it is. So, let me pull it up again. Her whole setup and everything is so fantastic, but I really recommend you go watch it, so I'm going to link it below. And it is by Hello Leash. And it is called Gabby Hannah Lies About Trisha Paytas, Spencer Sharp, Oscar Wilde, and Rachel Oates in One Big Week. And it's kind of this rant, but she's just sitting on a couch talking, and it's so fantastic. And the things that she says in there are really, really important. And she says that she feels that Gabby Hannah is doing more harm than good to the neurodivergent community. And go in there, and she knows a lot more about this than I do. So please go watch it. And I'm not all of a sudden, listen, okay? I'm not all of a sudden being like the poster child for all this kind of stuff. I don't really know that much about it. I want to be educated more on it. I want to learn more about it, all right? You know, people say to me, they'll ask me like, oh, well, so you're ADHD. And like, I don't live behind that diagnosis and, you know, or whatever. I have learned that there are ways for me that I can function in the world, but it's still very, very difficult. And so, you know, that's just the world that I live in today. I would say that had this topic never come up, I don't think that I would be doing the research that I'm doing now into some of these things. So I think that in a way, it could be something good that could come from all of this. Gabby Hannah tweeted out a bunch of things today, which I'm going to talk about in a second, in talking to the H3 podcast. She tweeted at Ethan and Gila Klein and was asking them to be open-minded about her series. So, Gabby, I'm telling you right now, I'm listening. Okay, I will be open-minded, I will watch your series, and I will give a response in an open-minded manner, right? But I hope that we think about what we're putting out there in the world, and we're being careful on the people out there that are watching this, you know? I'm very careful, like speaking from a recovery point of view, I'm very careful about the things that I put out there, okay? I'm very careful in talking about what was difficult for me at 1 month, at 1 week, at 6 months, at 1 year, because I can tell you that life at 26 years and 4 months sober looks a lot different than it did at 30 days sober, okay? At 30 days sober, I couldn't go to some of the places that I feel like I can go to now because the desire to use has been lifted from me, okay? So for me, I'm very careful about that, because when I am speaking to the recovery community out there, of which I do not feel that I am representative of, I am just one example. When I am speaking to people out there that are newly sober or wanting to get sober, I have to speak to them as if I'm a newcomer, okay? I have to speak to them with the hope of somebody that's been around for a while, but with the knowledge that they're going into this one day at a time, okay? And when we're talking about any kind of addiction or mental health issues, I think it's really, really important to talk to the audience that's out there that this may be day one for them, you know? That this may be day one that they're like, oh wait, I relate to that. Like, I recognize this, you know? So anyway, let's get into what Gabby Hannah talked about. First of all, she came back to Twitter last night and she started talking about, I'm already like, so this is where I'm like, I don't know how people are going to relate to this or react to this about what I shared. I don't know if what I shared is right, if what I shared is wrong. It's just my truth. That's all I know how to share. And so, and I'm totally open to any kind of education. So if there are videos out there that you guys think that I should see, please let me see, or link them in the comment section below. Any books that you think I should read, I am totally open to this. I'm very, very fascinated by all of this. And this is just in the last 48 hours that I have begun to look at all of this stuff. So I don't claim to know a whole lot about this. I really don't, okay? And there's a lot of people out there that obviously know 100 times, 1,000 times more than I do. So Gabby Hanna, she's back on the Twitter again today, okay? And she tweeted out, well, yesterday she tweeted out, I wish I could just harass people the way they harass me, but my audience doesn't care about them the way their audience cares about me, okay? And basically what she's saying is, she wishes she could come at the people, I don't know who she's talking about, Trisha Paytas, drama channels, whoever, okay? And that she could harass them the way that she defines that as harassment and back, okay? Which most of what I have seen, I mean, yeah, the stuff between her and Trisha is pretty catty, but I feel like with the drama videos I've seen, if you want to term them that, or commentary videos I've seen, most people have been pretty fair. Most people, I would say, to Gabby, okay? At least I've been trying to be really fair with this whole situation. So to say that you want to harass people back, yet again, this is where I'm like, okay, you're not 21, you're not 18, okay? Like, let's grow up and let's learn some things. And this is where I talked in my video yesterday about, why do we always want to tell on somebody? Why do we always want to be like, you know, like hurt people? That definition of that is hurt people hurt people. She's hurt, she wants to hurt somebody else. And let them know how bad the pain is that she's going through. Well then, Gabby, make a video, okay? Instead of being like, you know, this hard ass, go on a video and say, I'm hurt. Like, my feelings are hurt, okay? I have really never really witnessed a video from Gabby Hanna where she's that she's that authentic and genuine about her emotions and her feelings. Get on a video and say, my feelings are hurt. Like, I'm trying to be honest about where I'm coming from, and I know nobody believes that, but I'm hurt. Like, my feelings are hurt, right? Like, this person made a mockery of my poetry, you know, about childhood trauma that I went through. Like, I'm hurt, and that's where this starts from, and I haven't been able to stop since it started, and that's where I'm at today, you know? If I saw that video from Gabby, sure, I'd side-eye it a little bit after everything that's gone on, but I think I'd be like, okay, I get that. Like, I relate to that. That's your truth. That's honest, you know? But if you go underneath here, the thing that's really sad, hold on a second. My lips are so dry now, I need some lip gloss. The thing that's kind of sad about this now is, when this started a week and a half ago, if you read the comments under Gabby's Twitter, it was a lot of support from her fans and her stans. It's really not anymore. If you go underneath this video and you read the comments underneath there, it's really people that are just like, oh, Gabby, come on now. Okay, what's this about? More of this, you know? Oh, you want to harass people? I mean, and this is on her own Twitter from people that are her stans, okay? And she's just, and I think this is the thing, her need to prove whatever truth she feels that she deserves to live in is really, she's distancing herself from people. She's pushing people away. You know, I said in my video yesterday, YouTube is entertainment for people. YouTube is supposed to be enjoyable for people. Or it's supposed to be educational, like you got to learn how to change a tire, or maybe we're going to learn something from this 12-part series, you know? I don't know. I hope so. I hope so. I hope that I can get on video and I can say, wow, I really learned a lot from this situation from Gabby. It was really educational to me, you know? And I really feel like as much as she's asking people to be open-minded, that she presented the information in an open-minded manner too. Because you can't expect people to be open-minded to you if you're not open-minded in what you're putting out there, period, okay? You know, but it's like this constant need to always tell on somebody and screenshot and all this stuff. It's like, it's so, girl, aren't you exhausted? I would be exhausted by all of it. It's just a lot. So when you go underneath here, underneath this tweet, where she said she wants to harass people, someone said, good, innocent people do not wish that they could victimize people the way they're supposedly being victimized, but I digress. Maybe you're just quirky and different. And someone said, if you're the ratings gold you claim you are, why do your videos struggle to hit 50,000? Why can your new channel not break 100,000? Someone says, I love you so much, but you legit got shadow banned on YouTube. Someone says, I really hope when all this is over, you don't try to come back on your platform promoting mental health, because you have skewed the idea of mental health so much with your behavior to these young people who watch you. Your behavior matters regardless of your mental health. And it goes on and on and on. Someone said, Rachel critiqued your book. She's allowed to do that. When you make your art public, people can critique it. She didn't make fun of you. She only spoke on your book. And, well, she did. She did when she published the book from the dog's point of view. That was making fun of her, okay? Someone said, Gabby, I don't ever write negative comments, and I will defend your actions on Twitter all the time. But this one really ain't it. I won't bully, and I'm truly sad. That's what it seems like you are asking. After all this BS you want your fan base to harass as well. And someone was talking about Trisha, and Someone said she's raging and on and on and on. So they kept on going on about this Trisha Paytas thing. Someone said, seriously, you are still carrying on about this? Girl, get it together. You are hurting no one but yourself. Someone said you invented harassing people. I mean, this is all under her own Twitter, you know? I mean, if you're putting a statement out there like that, and then you read under your own Twitter that many people are dissatisfied with you, like, look at that and say, like, what am I doing? Like, you know, like, maybe I need to take a look at this. Like, that's a big sign. Like, maybe I need to take a look at this. Maybe I'm seeing this from the wrong point of view. But I have a feeling that, you know, Gabby Hanna is somebody that is so unteachable that you really can't, like, sit down and have a conversation with her because she always thinks that she's right. Now, I said at the very end of my video yesterday, if you waited till the very end, there's a recovery statement, and it is, would you rather be happy or would you rather be right? Okay? I do not, at 48 years old, feel the need to be right all the time. Yes, sometimes it matters, okay? But not all the time. I'd rather be happy. I'd rather be happy, you know? We're here but for a minute. I mean, you don't know how long you're going to be here. Is this how you want to spend your time, proving other people wrong all the time? Like, it's exhausting. You know, and I think of Gabby, like, I was looking at, like, when she was going on her Instagram story and she was walking, I was like, she has a gorgeous house. You know, she lives in California. She has a gorgeous life, you know. She could do anything she wanted to do. You know, she has a studio. She could make whatever kind of... I would love to have a studio. I love to sing, you know. It's like, I look at all of that and I think, and this is what she's choosing to do? Like, how sad is that? Like, that to me speaks volumes. And that has nothing to do with the people around you, you know. There are people out there that are working 2 and 3 jobs, okay, that have supervisors that harass the SHI out of them every day and call them names. And they still got to show up for the job and know it's not okay. It's not right, right? But they got to put meals on the table for their kids. And they got to have a roof over their head for their kids so that they can do their homework and get them into bed at night so that they can go to school the next day so that hopefully that they'll have a future, right? So quit complaining to me about your life. Be grateful for what you have. You know, sit there. This is the YouTube thing that just, it disturbs me beyond end, okay? Is the lack of gratitude with these YouTubers that just want to constantly complain about how bad their lives are, okay? I'm sorry you're being bullied on YouTube. Girl, I've been bullied on YouTube too, okay? I just put a tweet out today about people making ageist comments in my videos, okay? Old man of YouTube, you're so old. Why are you talking about this? Why are you gossiping like a 16-year-old? Whatever. And I said, you know what? I hope they're having as much fun as I am at my age. And I really do, you know? I don't take that to heart too much. I just don't. You know, girl, we've all been bullied. We've all had people come for us. We've all, like, all of it, okay? You know, it's like, and at some point, it's like you realize, I'd rather focus on my attention on the people that are out there that choose to watch every day, you know? Like these people. Hold on just a second. I want to shout out some people. Real quick. I want to shout out Jazz. She said, I love watching you. Honestly, speaking of age, I turned 28 today. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. She said, it's not old by any means, but man, so, haha, it's my birthday today. Thought you'd pop in and try to give a shout out. There you go, Jazz, happy birthday, you know? You know, or here's another one. Mater said, hi, Peter, please can you say happy birthday to my best friend, Haunting Leoma, who's having to work on her birthday. Happy birthday. She has to work on her birthday, okay? She isn't going to drive around and go work out and, you know, do all this kind of stuff and complain on Twitter. She's working today. So happy birthday, Leoma. And then here's another one, okay? Wait. This is from Classy GG. Hey, Peter Monn, I'm one of those flag girls you spoke of today's video. Your fan skills are up to par. I think we can give you a spot. Anyway, I just turned 27. Can I get a birthday shout out? I've been waiting all year to ask. Happy birthday, GG, for that, you know? Can we find some gratitude out there? Can we focus the attention on the people that are happy? You know, like that's for me where it's at, you know? You guys out there that are so kind to watch my videos every day and allow me to have a life beyond my wildest dreams, of which I do, thank you. Thank you, you know? And you're the ones that keep me from trying to complain all the time. So let's get back into Gabby's Twitter. So, the Frenemies podcast comes out today, okay? Every Tuesday, you know. Oh, by the way, the SIP comes out too, but don't nobody care about that. Anyway, the Frenemies podcast came out today, right? And I think Gabby thought that that's all they were going to talk about. Well, now, I haven't watched the 2 hours of the Frenemies podcast, but I went in and I read the comments, okay? So I know they don't talk about it because I found, when I went in here, somebody commented and said, and this is one of the top comments, Knowing that Gabby Hanna is at home ripping her hair out because she wasn't mentioned in Frenemies helps me sleep at night. Trish, you queen. And then somebody responded and said she'll probably mention the 30 seconds she was talked about when Ethan asked a question about her, but Trish cut it down quick, okay? So I think everybody thought today's Frenemies was going to be about Gabby Hanna, and it wasn't, okay? But that wasn't enough for Gabby Hanna. They weren't talking about her. Now, don't forget, okay? Gabby Hanna always talks about people that insert themselves into her business that she's not part of. Was she part of it? Now, if I'm wrong and I go watch that Frenemies podcast and they all talk about her on there, I'm going to feel like such a fool. But they must not if the comments underneath there, right? Because it has 99 likes. So, Gabby Hanna, okay, she watches the Frenemies podcast. They don't talk about her. Oh, wait a second. She inserts herself right in the middle of it, okay? So, she goes in here onto Twitter and she says, let me get in here, today, this is an hour ago. This is not about this, but this was before this. I finally starting ADHD medication today or tomorrow, depending on if I remember to go today before they close. I'm so excited to experience the world with a neurotypical brain. All the doctors keep telling me all the ways my life is going to change. It makes me emotional, which that's fantastic. I'm really, really happy for her, okay? So if her video series is a journey through her trying to find out that, you know, she's ADHD and getting on medication and what the doctors tell her, that's fantastic. I think that would be a really, really interesting and educational series, okay? But if what she's saying is that she's just now getting diagnosed and getting on medication and she's going to do a teaching series, I don't think she's the one for that. That's just my opinion, okay? I think there are many other people out there that are better equipped to talk about this, not Gabby Hanna, when this is the beginning of her journey. So, but I do think that that would be an interesting video series if she wants to document what she's gone through, okay, with all of this. So then she goes on, ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder that this is where I feel like, I don't know if where she lives in a cave or she doesn't live in the real world, but like, am I the only one that knows quite a few people that are diagnosed as ADHD, that live manageable, functioning lives with ADHD, on medication or not? I mean, and this is where now all of a sudden you've decided to take to Twitter to educate people, okay? I'm very confused. Like, I'm very confused. ADHD is a neurodevelopmental disorder that forms in childhood and progresses exponentially as you get older. ADHD brains function extremely differently than non-ADHD brains, often leading to feelings of being misunderstood and depression. I'll definitely be sharing my journey, or the journey. So, okay, that will be interesting. So then people go on here and they're saying things. Great, now apologize for weaponizing it to escape accountability multiple times. Someone said, oh girl, your journey of feeling misunderstood is already being shared. And then people are asking questions about, did you ever think you had ADHD when you were younger? But others just said it was you being a typical child. You know, it's interesting with me because that wasn't like a term that we use. I mean, I can remember going to elementary school and like being talked about as being hyperactive. Like, I remember that word being used like in school. And so anyway, that's what she says about that. I actually just talked about this in a vlog not too long ago. Then Gabby said, hey, H3 production, she tags them. I will definitely come accept the award for mental breakdown in person. That must be the statement that he made in the video. I love the opportunity to speak for myself since I'm a recurring topic of your show, and also help educate yourself, educate on neurodivergency and the effects of trauma and negativity on a neurodivergent brain. So she's just shared that she's at the beginning of her journey, I guess. I mean, am I misunderstanding this? I'm confused, okay? So she's going to come on the show and she's going to educate. I would hope that the battery died. So anyway, but what I was saying was, I hope that if Ethan Klein has somebody on there to talk about ADHD and the neurodivergent community, that maybe he would have somebody that's identified with that community for a long time, as well as maybe a psychiatrist that can say, hey, this is the background of it, this is the diagnosis of it, this is our signs and symptoms, this is the treatment for it. You know, that's just my opinion, okay? As a simple observer of the world, that would just be my opinion, okay? So then she continues to go on, and she says, I would also like to encourage H3 Productions to not label women defending themselves or expressing emotion as a mental breakdown. It happens a lot to particular females in media. It happens to men as well, Gabby. It happens to men as well. I know you care about, you know, I mean, Anyway, I'm not gonna get into that whole thing. I know you care about mental health and holding people accountable, so I'd like to extend that offer to you. And then she says, I would also be very grateful if H3 Productions and Gila Klein watch my series with an open heart and mind. There's a lot of information I've never made public out of compassion for others, but the same courtesy has not been returned. I would just like to be heard. DMs are open. I think, you know, she wants to talk about her experience in the journey. That'd be great, right? Can you imagine that podcast of Frenemies, Trisha, Gabby, and Ethan? That would be real interesting, wouldn't it? You know, I talk about addiction and mental health on my videos a lot. I think people know I'm extremely, extremely passionate about it, okay? I'm extremely, extremely passionate about the fact that there is not good, affordable addiction and mental health treatment in our country, okay? So when you see people reading all of this and they're like taking it in and they're like, is this me? I don't know. Like blah, blah, blah. Or people that are part of that. You know, like this one comment I got, I wish I could find the DM. I should probably almost stop this and see if I can get the DM. But she was talking about how offended she was. She went on and on and on. She's like, I am so offended. Oh, where is it at? By Gabby coming towards the neurodivergent community. And then as I opened it, it was like I started seeing more and more and more. And she was responding to Gabby in her tweets. And I was like, God, there's so many people that are truly, truly offended by what Gabby is saying, you know? And that's where it's kind of like, maybe step back and realize this isn't just about, you're now talking about your audience, okay? You're not just talking about, so Gabby Hanna has now, indirectly, okay? She's now come for H3 in this statement. Trisha Paytas, Angelica Oles, all of these people in the last, Rachel Oates, all these people in the last week she's come out against because she's going to defend herself, right? Well, what you're really doing indirectly is you're distancing yourself from your audience, like I said, because there's a lot of people that do identify as part of the neurodivergent community, okay? And they're like watching this and they're like, what? Like, so anyway, it's very, very sad to me. I don't know. Your opinion is very important to me on this. And I know that people say, well, you're a commentary channel, tell us your opinion. I did tell you my opinion, but now I want to know, especially from those of you that feel comfortable enough with sharing your own journey of being part of this community. How do you respond to this, of what you see from Gabby going on online, you know? A lot of people feel that she's using this as an excuse for what happened in the last week and a half. I don't know. Let me know what you think on this, about all of this. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.